Hey, what's up? This is Steve from Within the Ruins. You're listening to a Metal Teddy Bear Experience.
The Metal Teddy Bear Experience has begun.
And welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience podcast right now. This is your host, Chris. Got my boy, Jesse. What's up, dude?
Yo, how's it going?
Pretty good, because we have Steve Tinnon, the vocalist of Within the Ruins. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you guys today?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Work day's over, and now it's just fun with Within the Ruins.
There you go. Double up. Double up on it.
Oh, man. It's like when you say marked up something. Like I did that in an email today. I'm like, oh, marked up the file. I was like, oh, I got to find another way to say that.
Like that makes sense. It makes sense, but like it also sounds dumb. Or like if you're like if you're getting ready for something and you're like, we got to prepare the preparations. Wait. Damn.
Not going to say that again. But where are you calling in from right now?
Oh, San Antonio, Texas. That's where me and Paolo live. So the band's kind of split up, actually. Me and Paolo live down here, and then Joe and drummer actually live out in Westfield, Massachusetts.
Oh, nice. Sweet. You and Paolo, is that how you joined the band? You and Paolo meeting in Texas?
Essentially, yeah, because me and him were in a band previously called Silence the Messenger for almost 10 years ago together. And we became friends with Ruins back in like 2009. They were like Creature had just come out and they were touring off of it. And we met them at a big venue here called the White Rabbit. And they, anytime they would come through, our band would hop on, or we would meet up on tour sometimes and play a show together, or we would just hang out if they were in the area, whatever. So like our bands have been friends for a long time. And then probably like 2015 or so, Joe asked Paolo to fill in on an All-Stars tour that the band was doing. But instead of playing guitar, they wanted him to play bass. And so he did it. And then it ended up just being permanent. You could kind of see that coming, really. Our old band then fell apart, and I was sitting around for a couple of years, and they needed me to fill in on a headliner. Like halfway through, Tim had to go home because he had some medical issues. And I just did the last like 2.5 weeks or so of the run, like with a couple days notice. And then yeah, that was in the fall of 2017. And then New Year hit, and like a little after the New Year, like early 2018, I decided to hop on board. So in sort of a way to answer your question, yeah, it's because of Paolo, but because Paolo was like, well, Steve's sitting at home, he could come fill in on the tour if we needed to. And Joe was like, oh, fuck, no, duh.
Did that make you nervous getting that call? Like when you got the call, they're like, hey, we want you on tour. You're like, oh shit. Like, yeah, I want to do it, but oh my God, that's a lot to learn. Or
It is like I was excited, but nervous at the same time. Like, cause I'm a bartender, but I was working at a different bar at the time. And like, it was already, I think, Friday. And so Joe texted me and was like, hey, what's up? And we were just like small chat for a little bit. And then he was like, so anyways, remember when we stole your guitarist? And I was like, yeah, what's up? And he goes, he's like, well, do you think we could steal you too? And I was like, oh, sure, I guess. For what? And he's like, a tour that we have. And I was like, okay, when is it? And he's like, right now. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So I got it cleared with work, and then it was a U.S. headliner. It was like a 5-week run that they were doing, and it was already about halfway done, but it was a long one, and they were doing like a 12, 13 song set, something like that. And so I was trying to learn at least like 10 of them before, as best I could. And like I said, we'd known each other for a long time, and I was a fan of the band, but so I'm familiar with the material, but it's totally different, especially with this type of music, like learning the stuff, all the ins and outs and details and weird timing and stuff. It was a bit of a change. So I was nervous on that end. Yeah. But also excited because I was like, dang, this, I didn't know if I'd be able to tour again after the old band broke up. And then maybe this is like my one last opportunity or something, or just one last hurrah type of thing. And so I was excited at the same time, but a little nervous though, for sure. I had like a binder with all the lyrics and stuff. And
oh, nice.
if you look at some of the old pictures from me filling out on that tour, you can see some of the shots. You can see a binder on the ground by the floor monitors, or maybe back on the drum riser, where like I'll take a peek in between songs and stuff. And like everybody was cool about it. No fans were like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Dude,
they got it.
authentic.
Why didn't you learn all of this? You couldn't learn all this in 48 hours, you idiot.
Yeah,
Like-
YouTube comment. I got photogenic memory. It's really easy actually to get. You just study really hard, and it just like snapshots it in your brain. Okay, bro, thanks.
I should have thought of that.
You should have read it harder.
I should have read better.
It blows my mind when like people get called. They're like, "Oh, our drummer can't play anymore," but we called in this guy, and it's like that guy knew all the stuff. Like, how did he do that? So like, what was your process to learn everything? Like, did you just like throw the record on, just keep going, like shower everything you did?
I got the set list from Joe, and I was like, okay, tell me what songs you guys are doing. And like I said, I was familiar with a lot of it, so kind of as a vague skeleton of each song, I knew them kind of already. But like I said, the ins and outs were what were difficult. So I typed up each song, made sure all the lyrics are right, printed it all out. But then what I usually do when I write my own songs, or like if I have to learn something, I'll have it all typed out, but I'll take a pin on top of what I've printed, and I'll put little like notations or commas or dots or little inserts, like if something comes in on the upbeat instead of the down or whatever, little things that help me remember. Little stuff like that's my photogenic, is if I can remember this lyric has this mark over it, then I can remember when to come in, and little stuff that helps me remember. That's just how my brain works. But it was difficult though a little bit, kind of even being familiar with it. Some of the details were like, oh shit, that's how that part actually goes. Like that's weird or confusing. You remember the big pieces, but and honestly, sometimes like when I was first figuring it out, I was like, hey, if you know the words, get up, just help me out, and like people were like, fuck yeah, let's go, and they like,
you hold it out.
I was like, you guys do this.
Are you with me?
Yeah, and what was cool was on that headliner, they were doing so there's like the Ataxia songs on each album that are the instrumental tracks, and a lot of people like those. So on the headliner, Joe kind of there's like, at the time there were 4 of them, I think. So he put pieces of each one together as this like medley, and so it's like a 7-8 minute little just instrumental part of the set where I got to go sit for a second, and I got to I would use those minutes to like double check my binder and make sure the songs that are coming up they're like fresh in my head. And so I was trying to be as prepared as possible, but like, you can only do so much.
Oh yeah, I mean, anytime I ever hear stories like that, like, I play drums, so I'm always into the drummers that like call it, they go on like the airplane and they're just like, yeah, I just listened to 30 songs, I think I got it, and they just like go, I'm like, it always blows my mind where it's just like, yeah, it is literally just sitting there listening to the song, reading the song. If you read music or like doing what you do is like tabbing it out. Also, I learned that certain musicians like jump onto certain pieces, like instruments. So like some people will just learn the guitar really well. Like they'll just memorize it, or like memorize the vocal pattern or the drum beat or whatever. Mm-hmm. So is there a specific instrument when listening to Within the Runes? Was it just the guitar? Like once you just memorize the guitar, you kind of got the rhythm of the song? Or was there anything specific that you like focused on?
It's some of the guitar, because that's like the band is definitely focused on guitar and what Joe does. But for me, like especially live too, in my monitor, I like snare. Snare is my big thing. So that's what's keeping me on the figuring out if something comes in on the up or the down. Yeah. So snare was a big thing for me. And I was just like head in my binder. I made like a Spotify playlist of the tracks, and I just kind of went through them in order. That was another thing that helped. I put them in the right order. So I could kind of get like a big picture memory of what the songs were. And it was mostly each song, as they went by, I was focusing on the drums a little bit more than I thought, to kind of keep me a steady pace. Hey, shut up. Sorry, my dog.
The dog wants to be in the pod.
He's lying. He focused on the bass more.
Yeah, so me is drums, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's always so interesting, like trying to break it down, because just like trying to learn music, it seems easy when it's like a really good song. You just like organically, you put a song, you just like listen to it 10 times. Mm-hmm. But when like you're forced to, not luckily, but I'd never been put in that position where I just like, yeah, learn these 15 songs, bro. I'll see you.
I'll see you in a day.
Yeah, right.
I'll see you in like Tallahassee or fucking something. It's like, all right, bro, see you there.
Oh, I know, right? And I thought like the first show I got flown out to was in California, and I thought they had done a couple instrumental sets for a few days till I got out there, and then they had a couple of guys from the package. I think it was Mark from A Virgin's Crown helped out on a couple songs, and want to say Brian from Currents might have. I don't really remember exactly. It was a couple years ago. But they had the guys try and learn a couple a piece, and they would swap it out throughout the set. But when I got there that first day, I figured I'd have maybe a day or two to kind of watch the set or watch the other guys do it. And, like, we're getting closer into the night, closer to the set, and Joe's like, so are you going to be good? You ready to go? And I was like, no, but, like, fuck it, whatever, let's just go. You know, I mean, if you just toss me in, you got to learn how to swim. So it worked.
Now, be honest. Did you ever take advantage of like growling vocals where you could kind of get away if you sing fast enough? Maybe live, you kind of just like you knew the rhythm, but you might not know the words.
Absolutely, I did.
There we go.
Absolutely, no, yeah, man. Like, I'm super real and like upfront and honest with it, like about stuff like this. You know, I'm very much like I was just trying to learn, and yeah, I didn't know everything, so I would fake it. And honestly, like in real time, nobody really, not always knows.
You're the diehard in the back calling you out.
Hey, that wasn't it.
It was off. It was off by a 16th note. What the fuck?
You don't know. You don't really, like some kid sitting in the back looking at the lyrics while the show is going on. Fuck off,
dude. That one. I'm the diehard.
Yeah, the diehard in the back who like not there to drink or hang out with anybody. He's like, the music has to be perfect.
Oh yeah, he impressed me, bro. That's it. Just that's why I was like.
Oh, Joss is impressed.
Yeah,
me,
those kids. Those kids.
It's weird because they just like they almost nod with their head like after each song. Nice.
Yeah. And, you know, hey, whatever. You know, not to talk shit about whoever's at the show, whatever. But it's like, it's all in fun. But dude, for sure, I cheated sometimes. But I didn't know it all. It is what it is.
Because I noticed when I like songs, I just memorize the rhythm of the vocals. I almost never know the lyrics. So like I just like someone catches me singing, they're like, "What the fuck are you even saying?" I'm like, I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Sing it with me now.
Yeah, your turn. Let's go. So unbelievable.
Well, then after shortly after you guys put out like 2 new singles, I think it was World Undone and Resurgence. The first tracks with them. Was that something you all worked together to write, or is it something they had and they had you sing over?
Yeah, it was actually technically the start of writing this album, but that's what it was going to be for. That's what it was going to be used for. But then once I hopped on, then they're like, well, we need to put the labels like, hey, we need to put something out with Steve on it so we can kind of introduce him to everybody. Gotcha. And it was 2 songs. It wasn't one. It was the 2, like you said. And in my head, I'm like, well, what's the point of releasing 2 songs that are just 2 different songs or whatever? So I made them kind of connect and be like, World Undone is the beginning part of this where everything's falling apart, and then Resurgence is like rebuilding from that scenario. So I connected them, and then if you look at the artwork for that, it's like the one guy is kind of falling apart, and it's mirrored on the other side symmetrically. Like everything is better. So I made them like in tandem. So I thought that made a little more sense than doing just 2 kind of random songs. Like here's 2. But they have nothing to do with each other. That's just the way my head works. I just think it's cool if there's like a small concept going on. So, but after that is when Joe started to really kind of dig in and start the actual writing process of what turned out to be Blackheart.
Nice. Well, it's almost harder to like every band I've ever heard that make any songs, either a concept album or just a few songs have to do with each other. They always say it's way harder than just making like 5 random songs. Like just like this song's about popcorn, this song's about like love loss, and this song's about fucking, I don't know, dragons.
Dragons. See, well, why couldn't you make popcorn and dragons work together? And like
popcorn dragons.
And then like he loved the popcorn, and it like left him, and he couldn't find the popcorn.
It's like
make it a thing.
It's like it's like a popcorn version of Dragonheart. It's like, I love you too. Popcorn. Here's popcorn. I'll see you later. Fucking unbelievable. Yeah, was that very difficult, especially to like get to? Well, I guess because were the lyrics done, or did you put your own lyrics on it?
No, those, like, I had a bunch of stuff written just because of some, like, personal shit I was going through while I was in between the bands and stuff. And a lot of that is what actually made it to the record.
Nice.
But I didn't use any of those things for the 2 tracks. I kind of, for those, since I figured out that I wanted them to be together, I wrote down a list of, 4 or 5 ideas of, like, what would be a good song A and then song B, like a couple ideas of those, and I landed on those 2, that concept of like a world falling apart and like, everything is just gone, and then the latter half of that is rebuilding from that and starting fresh. So I landed on that concept, but I didn't want to. I didn't really want to put any of the personal stuff that I had already written like up front like that right away. I wanted to come up with something fresh for those tracks. So I saved all the stuff that ended up being on Blackheart. I just held on to that for a little while. So
Awesome.
I just came up with those right away.
Well, let's say Blackheart drops November 27th. What would you say is like the song that really stuck out to you the most? Because you said this, a lot of lyrical content for you. Which one like really stands out?
I mean, they all kind of have their own little special pieces or parts, or just things in general about each one. But I think honestly, it'd have to be the title track, Blackheart, because a lot of the stuff, a lot of the songs stem from that or are related to it in some way. So it's kind of like home base for the album. And with the exception of maybe a couple, they're all kind of related in one way or another, or have something to do with the aftermath of it or something along those lines. So I think that's probably why we landed on it being the title track, because it was kind of a powerful name. I knew I wanted to call the song Blackheart, but then kind of realized after everything was done that it kind of all meshed together. So it kind of ended up feeling like, to me at least, especially one of the more important ones, because it's kind of where everything begins in a way. So some songs are like the aftermath, some songs are similarly related issues, but I think that ended up being the most important one. So I'd have to say that one.
Well, the song was definitely a banger. Like, just like,
oh, thanks.
Just like, yeah, it was
Banger
definitely
approved.
Banger approved. Check the box.
Yeah, stamp right in the center of the screen. Yeah, it was definitely awesome. And also, it's like, and what I wanted to know also, because like you said, you came in, you like the 2 songs, and then you like now the 2 singles, you wrote an album after. Did you get more input on the songs, or what changed between the 2 singles and then writing the album?
No, like I just I wanted to keep the content separate. I think, like I said, a lot of the lyrics that are on Blackheart I already had in my notes section in the phone. But I didn't want to like release those 2 singles, but then have the album be like the same thing. You know, just like it would have been an interesting concept looking at it now, like, oh, we're picking up where those singles left off. But I kind of like the idea that they're separate and they're their own thing. And I was kind of testing out the waters, writing with a new band and a slightly different style than the old one. And I ultimately didn't want them to be about the same stuff. I knew that once I joined, I was like, well, I'm going to have to do an album. And I think my more important personal stuff is what I want on the album. And these 2 singles will eventually down the line be a little bit less relevant or important. Not that they're not cool songs and I love them. We'll probably still play World Undone from time to time, I'm sure. But, I think if you look at big picture, I didn't want to put the super personal stuff for those couple songs and then follow it up with an album that kind of just buries stuff that actually did mean a lot to me. Yeah, of
course, that makes a lot of sense. And then also when those like came around, I'm assuming those 2 singles were basically done by the time you got involved, right? Because they were in the middle of writing it, or did you have your hand in helping like arrange maybe the guitars and bass around, or?
That's all Joe.
That's all Joe. They just big hammer away at it. Is that kind of
Joe's got his own studio out in Massachusetts, so he'll sit down in there for hours and hammer out stuff on guitar and like program the drums so you have an idea of what the track sounds like, and then he'll put it in Dropbox, and then Paolo and I just here in Texas will open up Dropbox and listen to it while we drive around or when we're at home through headphones, what have you. So he had those 2 songs finished because, like I said, that was originally part of the writing for the album. But then they just turned into singles. So those were done on his part. And then, like I said, I came up with the concept for the lyrics and then wrote the lyrics on top of that. And then flew out there and knocked him out.
So I was going to say, do you guys fly out to his studio and do everything there afterwards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, that's pretty much the process is he'll hammer out the songs in his studio, put them in the Dropbox, and then I'll pick a night to kind of seclude myself and then focus really hard on one. I'll usually have some whiskey because it gets my brain moving, and and it's not to like get hammered or anything, but it's like those guitarists that are like, I like to smoke weed and so when I play or whatever. like I get that. So like for me, it just whiskey usually is usually bourbon or Jameson, if either of you were curious. Which you probably
go.
But
I was actually going to ask. I was like, why not? Let's get it.
No free ads. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what I usually do. It helps me. I feel like it helps me take chances if I have like a little buzz going on. I feel like I take a little bit more artistic risk and helps me dive in and focus and not be afraid to try some stuff. So I'll usually just sit down and play the song like over and over and rewind sections and just write it out on a piece of paper while listening to it on like a Bluetooth speaker or something. And then once I've got them done, I'll be like, hey, I finished this track, and this track. And then we fly out to Joe's studio and just record them at Joe's studio. And we did that ultimately probably like 4 or 5 times, I think, and like did a few tracks within like a week span, fly home for a couple of months, and then schedule another time to go back out. And so that's kind of what dragged the process out, is just kind of scheduling, flying out and everything. But
yeah,
it was kind of like, I know a lot of people, especially after I joined, were like, when's the album coming out? When's the new album? Like that's when like a lot of the comments on every single post were like, I'm trying to talk, like if I post something from the band page, like that's just about one thing, that'll be comments will be like, well, when's the album? Like, well, that's not what I'm talking about right now.
That's cool. When's the album though, huh?
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
when you put out the album.
It was fucking nonstop, man. So, but it ended up being kind of cool that we get to, that it got dragged out, because we get to sit around and listen to the songs over and over and adjust, versus like being crammed in a studio for a month, having to knock it all out, and then that's it, you're done. And whatever you came up with is whatever you came up with, versus like this process gave us time to sit back and listen after I put vocals to them. We could say, oh, well, we can add this in here, or add a section, or, you know, little things like that, that you don't always have the time to think about. So we had extra time in a good way.
Yeah, I always hear that be like a major problem with bands, is like, especially like labels like want an album done and they just like, well, we got it done. Is that what we wanted? Like, well, it's out now.
It's out, like, so we can't do anything.
Yeah,
we'll remaster it in 10 years.
Yeah, there we go. I was like, that's where the money's gonna be.
Just hang tight, label.
So the label, were they ever? Because like right now, with a lot of like with the pandemic and everything like that, some bands, like Every Time I Die, they're holding on until they could tour again, and some bands even postponed it, like Lamb of God and Hatebreed. So was the label ever like, all right, let's hold on to this for a little bit and see what happens, or they're like, no, we just got to get this out. We got to get content out. They've
been actually very, I say lenient, because as if they're like strict with us on stuff. They're not. E1 has been like incredibly gracious and willing to work with us on our time. And like once we were kind of honing in on being finished, and they were like, all right, let's figure out a set time to be done. But they were never like, guys, we need it now. We need it now. And it's not like the album has also been sitting around finished for a while. We probably wrapped up actually recording it like right before the pandemic, and then
nice.
Yeah, just in time, and then started doing the mixing and mastering stuff during the beginning of all that. So we were listening to things back a lot then, but that was the perfect time to finish. And so we didn't really sit on it for too long. Once we figured out when it was actually going to come out, we figured fall, and then we set the date, and then we figured out the rollout and what have you. But it wasn't one of those things that was sitting around for a long time. Like, when are we going to put it out? Like, it's ready to go. It was, we kind of waited long enough.
Just one button away from like, we could put it out right now. We got it.
We could do it. Say the word, man.
Not today. Okay.
No. Not today. No. So it was, they were super cool about it. And we were just like, who knows when touring is going to pick up, and everybody's waited long enough. There's not like, you don't want to lose any more hype than you've already lost by sitting around. So,
well, Rob Flynn on his podcast, or is it Mosh Talks? But Rob Flynn of Machine Head, he was talking about how, that he's been writing songs now for the new album, but he's not really a huge fan of the 2-3 year gap in between albums, because the songs he's writing are relevant now, and he really wants them to be heard now. So that's why he's going like in the single round, dropping stuff like that. Was there ever a moment where you felt like, man, I just want to release this one song we have?
Yeah, there's been a couple times, especially like maybe halfway through the recording process or so, is the first few songs that we did ended up getting scrapped. Like they might end up on a B-side or something somewhere. But I think after the first probably 2 or 3 is when we started to get our groove into where we knew the album was going to go. And then after a few of those songs, we're like, oh man, this is the one. It'd be so cool to drop this right now. But just, it would have been like for no reason. They would just, with no build up, nothing else built around it. It just wouldn't have really been a good idea.
Gotcha.
So those times were there, but if you're going to do it, you want to do it right. Now, I do see the benefit of like maybe certain artists that are just dropping singles left and right and don't really focus so much on a full album. So we still kind of did it like the traditional way of, these are going to be the singles, here's the rollout, here's the album, and boom, done. I mean, there's benefit to doing it either way, I think, but it was tempting at some points, but I don't think the idea was ever to like, oh, maybe we should just drop one, or it's always like, no, let's just do the full thing. So it was tempting, yeah, but never did it. It was never a serious idea.
Well, during like the pandemic, and even a little bit before, we kind of saw a lot of bands do different things. Like you said, like Code Orange, before they even released their album, they were just doing singles for like 3 years. It felt like they were just dropping random singles. Acacia Strain, they did the 2 songs, like 5 of them, and then
I loved that. That Slow Decay rollout was awesome. That was super creative.
Insane.
I loved it. Yeah,
it was like, I don't know.
That.
I forgot how it was, if it was every 2 weeks or a month, but I just remember like I forgot. I think I had Deezer or Spotify, and it was just like, hey, new Acacia Strain. I was like, what the hell? Like, I just did not pay attention. I was like, oh, new Acacia Strain, like every couple weeks. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's cool too. It was like just like one song, like one song you could kind of like forget about, but it was like 2 or 3. Chill out.
Yeah, it was great because it spelled out decay, but like very slowly, and then they call it slow decay. I was like, this is fucking great. This is super cool. Good for them.
It was definitely interesting, but like, so do you like? Well, you kind of already answered, I guess, but do you see any benefit to trying these like new things, like new like kind of rollout plans where, because a lot of people say like maybe singles are the way to go because people like with a full album, people might be with you for 5 songs, even if it's a fantastic album. People like sometimes like they just I got to go make pasta, and they just like leave on song 4 for some reason. It's just like
like, and then they come back to it later, and they're just like, let me just start again, and they just hit the same 4 or 5 songs, and then bounce again. The
banger is on the last. How many albums I listened to where the banger was like the last 2 songs? It's like, what the fuck, the deep cut? Like I missed so many deep cuts in my life because I've just been like, I got like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go play video games, or I'm just gonna go pet a cat. Like I don't know, I just like just lose my mind. I'm like, a year later, I'm like, I've had this for a year. What is wrong with me?
Petting a cat sounds real good right now. I'm gonna go do that.
Yeah, I was like, yo, see you later, bro. Oh,
no, sometimes I think it's important to like put some of the better songs towards the end and like make the listener earn it in a way, like we're like, there's gonna be cool stuff up front to grab your attention, but then like keep some cool stuff at the end, so it's not all up front and then the back of the album sucks. I think it's cool to like spread that stuff out. As far as your question though, I think there's definitely benefit to it. I mean, you kind of notice, especially just now that social media is a thing, like back, like I'm sure you guys are relatively my age too. Like back when we were kids, it was like you had the radio and you had MTV and you had magazines, but you weren't getting a ton of content just thrown at you to listen whenever you wanted. It was like, we had to time it. You had to go see the show. Like I didn't have the CD, but Gorillaz, what's the main song? Like, Feels Good? The song before that.
Oh, Clint Eastwood?
Clint Eastwood. Like, literally, I didn't have the CD. I had to, like, I remember everywhere I went, I just had to go, like, if there was a TV, I had to turn on MTV and just hope, like, the music channel, like, the music, because it would play it, like, once every, like, 2 hours. I'd be like, oh, I get to hear it again, finally. Like, now I get to YouTube it. I can listen to it 10 times right now.
Exactly, and, like, everything's at your fingertips, but then, that that people's attention span then just drops, So I think there could be a benefit, and I think there's a decent chance it could just change to where it's not about full albums anymore. It's maybe an EP or something, or literally you're an artist just dropping singles, and your singles are what the set's going to be or something, I mean, I think, and not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but it's just that's where the industry is right now. Everything's about streaming. People still like physical copies. I like physical copies too. Like I pre-ordered our own record. I want that vinyl, but but what am I also going to do? Like I'm going to stream stuff. It's the easiest. I can make my own playlist. That's just where it is. So I think there's a decent chance it could get there. I mean, there might be some people that hang on to the few singles and then here's still the full length, but I mean, who knows how long it's going to last. I think we're still in a sort of adjustment period, like especially with figuring out how bands are going to get paid from the music again at some point. I think we're still sort of adjusting, and even more so now with the pandemic. So
yeah, I feel like everything's been put on a hold because by the time either the pandemic's near the end or whatever happens post-pandemic, there's gonna be so many bands just releasing albums or going on tour where it's gonna be like they're just like almost playing catch up for like a year. Like just
I mean, but like people are gonna want it. You don't really think about how much you want to go to a show, or like, don't get me wrong, I love performing and playing it, but man, I just miss the environment of going to shows and hanging out too, So I think once tour starts up, people are going to be super grateful again, I think.
Yeah. I don't smoke at all, like cigarettes. I never miss cigarette smoke so much. Like, just like, are they like
I have said that exact same thing. I have said that exact same thing. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not a smoker either, but I think I brought it up to a buddy of mine and my girlfriend. Maybe I've talked about that exact same thing. I was like, you know what I miss? Cigarette smoke, because it reminds you of being in that environment.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like stuff is happening. You're around things that are occurring. You know, like
Oh, it's so awesome. It's only awesome at shows. Like when I'm like, if I'm at a restaurant, I walk through cigarette, I'm like, the fuck?
get this
But
shit
then-
out of here.
But then
And
I'm like,
at a
I'm at
show, you're like, oh yeah, I'm at a show right now. Cool.
That's awesome.
That's so funny, man. I've said that exact same thing. That's sick.
Oh yeah, these are just the thoughts I've been having between that and then randomly, like I just went like, well, Acacia Strain, I just like randomly showed a friend who never listened to him JFC, and I was like, fuck, I gotta go see these guys live. Like I was just like, oh, like I just like brought me back to like, dude, this is gonna be epic when they come back. Like how many times I've listened to like just some random bands that just released music over the last year. It's like, fuck, I gotta see these guys live. Like it's just like
start making a list.
Yeah.
Well, I technically, I guess I had one when I bought all the damn tickets, and I forgot to delete my calendar. I forgot to delete my calendar. So throughout the pandemic, it's like, dude, you
All the
happy
updates.
tonight? You're gonna go see Hatebreed? I was like, my heart.
Oh yeah, I bought. I had Rammstein tickets. I was gonna go
Yeah.
for the Fire Pit, man. I spent like hundreds of dollars on those goddamn tickets, and now it's a year away. So
I think it was Rage too. It was the month after, and I was like, cool. I've never seen either of these bands live. Now I'm gonna go see them. Like, nope.
nope.
Not gonna
Yeah, I'd
happen.
never seen Rammstein. I never got to. I'm a giant new metal kid, and I never got to back in the day.
There we go.
So
Show the
I was
respect.
pumped. I was
Show
pumped,
the
man.
respect to new metal. Love it.
Oh, dude, all the time. I hate when people are like there's like it was cool when you're a kid, you know, or you know, you liked it when you were a kid, and then for a while, like it's like not me, but like I saw people that would like shit on it and like, you know, because it, you know, it gets outdated until like people look back on it like, oh, this was corny, or the styles of the clothing and, you know, whatever was kind of dumb, and like now the people that grew up listening to it have brought it into metalcore and deathcore and stuff, and so it's back again. They're like, oh, new metal's cool now, like because we listen. Like, bitch, I always thought it was cool. I don't
Yeah, I never understood. It's like, what do you hate about, like, I never got into like the really deep new metal, like the bands that you just don't hear about at all. But like the big
I got
four
pretty
new metal or whatever, like whatever, any of like the surface level new metal bands, it's like, what do you hate about heaviness and groove? Like what the
They hate
Yeah.
it. There's no
hey,
solo.
bobbing your head, you just want to stand there stoic and just like, yes, this is a riff. This is awesome.
Well, if you go back and listen to them, like a lot of those riffs from back then, they're still super heavy. Some of them hit really hard.
Oh, yeah.
They still hit really hard, but some of them, the only difference is like back then you were playing that heavy part on a hi-hat, and now it's a China, but it's the same riff.
Yeah.
I kind of thought about that. Like, I don't think they're new metal per se, but I kind of went through. I just listened to like Fear Factory, and like
They got lumped into that.
But some
Yeah.
of their riffs, like breakdown riffs, it'd be literally if you just took their weird little disco beat they were doing, it's like half of the stuff that people are doing today was on that that Fear Factory. I was like, what the fuck? And then Korn, like hell, they even released the album like 2 albums ago, Insane or whatever they released. It's like, dude, this song's so heavy.
Yeah, that album that came out, the Nothing, I think it was called, with that white cover with the black puppet looking thing on it.
That one too, dude. Oh,
That had grooves on it, man. That shit was heavy. Like they just modernized what they were doing.
oh yeah, and people, I don't know, like something about like I don't know. For a metal podcast, it sounds like we hate metal, but like metal kids. But like, I always get
hate
like
the
a lot of
community.
I just get
It is.
confused because I like it all. Like I like Animals as Leaders where they're just shredding your face off, but I also like a beatdown band that just has like the 4 on the floor breakdowns for 3 minutes straight.
Yep. Oh yeah, dude. Because I think it's cool. I think it's okay now for everybody to like everything. It's gotten a lot more accepting, and we've all kind of progressed and grown up a little bit. But like back in like the MySpace days, it was super clicky, and like there were gatekeepers to all the subgenres and stuff. And it was
You literally had a uniform. You showed up like if you went to see like an emo band, you had the hair over your eye and like the color.
studded belt. And
Yeah,
like,
it's like
and then if you went to a hardcore show, you're wearing a basketball jersey and shorts, and you know. There was a code, you know.
It was nuts.
But now it's just like, dude, like whatever you want.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
I like
crazy.
that though. I'm about that. I'm all about like let's all just hang out and like just listen to heavy shit.
Unless you're on, like, I feel like the internet, like social media, is what makes that really worse. Like, you know how we say like, oh, we hate these people, it's because you see it online. Where you're like, I feel like when I was at shows, and I was talking to people, they weren't so like negative, you know.
No.
But when you go online, is when you see all the negative comments.
Oh yeah, because you'll get your ass beat at a show. Otherwise,
like they see you in the pit.
yeah, you could.
My computer just malfunctions when some people have said just some ridiculous shit. Like this dude was wearing like a denim vest and he had all the, you know, the battle vest. He had all the patches. And like I brought up Lamb, guy. He's like, I don't know. I just always get bored with them, and which is fine. But like seeing the patches on his vest, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Your vest says you should love Lamb of God. It was like I just couldn't handle it. I was like,
it screams
what?
at it, or it's like you've got band vests or patches on the vest that are actually probably boring metal bands too. Like, like no, that shit.
Yeah.
But,
well, I was just going to segue into a nice little article I saw. It was on Metal Injection, and it said LiveNation CEO expects shows at scale next summer. And they said that they were doing, like, there's a lot of analysts and investments into, like, all, like, safety precautions and everything like that. And they're still on the roadmap. This is a quote from them. They're on the roadmap to get back to live safely. So I was going to ask you, being in a band and if you have anything inside information, but do you think that's like likely? Like, do you see shows happening? Are you guys trying to schedule stuff?
Honestly, I mean, it's not that I don't have, like, I've heard multiple, like, guys on the like the promoters and booking agents and stuff that, like, most, like, fans aren't aware of, that don't know personally. Like, when you're a band dude, like, a bunch of the, like, the business side of it people, but I've seen multiple opinions. Like, I've seen guys that think it. I'm relatively familiar with that article. I think I've heard a couple people say, like, possibly by summer, but honestly, I don't even know. It's already November, and, like, I was seeing today, I think they said a vaccine could be here by the end of November, but then big distribution, who knows how long that'll actually take. It could take a few months. And then even at that, not everybody's still going to have it or want it or whatever. I think, me personally, I think summer might be an absolute best case scenario, but I think it'll be probably longer than that. I mean, there's some stuff that's already tried to be rescheduled for next year that's getting canceled again already. So yeah. I wish I had more info on it, but I think it's just a big question mark right now. There's not enough.
Well, Devin Townsend mentioned that even he's been guilty of it, where he, they schedule tours in advance and festival appearances and stuff like that. But he says he's like, you kind of have to, because you don't want to be that guy. If it does happen, you can't get a show for another year or a couple of months. Yeah, like, that's why they're renting it out. And like Des from Devil Driver spoke about it too, where he's actually rented time out, I think, at the Roxy in California. So when shows do happen, he actually has, like, the rights, to, like, put on a weekend show there or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all cool, but I think for the most part, bands are usually being safe and, mature about the situation, like, all realistic in a sense that, this all sucks. Like, we're about to put out an album. It'd be nice if we could be on tour in a few weeks, but it's not the case, unless you're, trapped or something. But,
yeah,
they didn't give a shit, and so that's fine. But
I remember hearing people, like, someone was talking about shows and they brought up vaccines, and they're like, oh, they're gonna wait till, like, a vaccine. But even that, I'm like, would you do you, like, I think the person was not really into vaccines. I'm like, would you take the vaccine? They're like, probably not. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Vaccines just won't work. It's not like it's just gonna make it go away. It takes some time. Like,
yeah, it takes time.
Take it. Like, yeah,
the whole idea is that it builds up, a little bit of immunity to it, but that takes time. It's not like you take it and everything's gone. That, I think people have a big misconception about, even if a vaccine is available, not everyone's going to take it. They don't understand the science or care about it, and it's still, even if everybody did take the thing, that still takes time. That's just biology.
And also, people treat vaccines like the new, like, game system. It's like, I'm not gonna get first gen, second gen. When we get in there, it's like, how they treat
I
look at the reviews. It's like, yeah, you get headaches or they get the red ring of death. Then I'll get the next one. It's like, I just don't want
the red ring of death for a vaccine might just be a little something different. But.
Yo, Todd died.
Yeah.
Yo, fucking Todd died. You guys hear?
You got the red ring of death. What the fuck is that? I don't know. That's what the doctor said. It was crazy.
I don't know, man, but I'm out.
That's
take my chances. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had more info, but I mean, I don't think there's an easy way of telling just yet. Summer, like I said, summer may be absolute best scenario, but even then, it could be like a socially distanced scenario still, or. Yeah. There was that one big outdoor show where they did, like, the square platforms, and you could have, like, 4, 5, 6 people in the square thing or at a time, but they were all spread apart. Like, is this the future of shows? Fucking maybe for a little while. I don't know.
Yeah, I might have to go to one of those, but I don't think I will. I just think it'd be so weird. The sound will spread out so weird. You just kind of.
The drive-in shows are interesting too. I know. Like, I was speaking to Doro, and she said it was so much fun doing a drive-in show because people are honking, whatever, sometimes you can actually see them, stuff like that. But then you have the total opposite side where Rob Flynn, he says they're so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
You look at it and you're like, this is dumb. I don't think that I want to do any of this.
Yeah.
I get both sides of it. Like part of you're like, you know what, whatever, I'll take what I can get. But then is it worth it? I don't know.
Yeah. Because I'm also pretty good with like stream shows right now. I'm actually surprised how pumped I get. Like when I watched the Lamb of God stream, I was like, I'll mosh right now. I was like,
yeah,
fuck
like, I'm good, man. I'll take this. Yeah, some of those are still cool.
Yeah. It's just like, I think with the amphitheaters, I think they might be able to, they might, yeah. They might do the like social distance concerts maybe because they're also just like around us, like Jones Beach and like New York. It's like literally just an open area. There's not even an overhang like the PNC Bank Arts Center has an overhang. So it's like, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I just can't wait till it comes back and people can be safe, obviously, especially for metal because just the second you drink. Stop giving a fuck about a pandemic every sip. Like,
oh yeah,
every shot.
Trust me, I'm a bartender. I understand.
Yeah.
People stop caring when they're drinking, and like I'm already like so sick of like, hey man, I need you to have your mask on, please. Like like I've already told you a couple times,
But,
what mask?
Well, the night starts with them sipping a straw through the mask, and then like you drink said they're like, so anyways, bro, what are you doing lately?
I'm like getting away from you. I don't know you.
Get away, get your droplets out of here.
Get your droplets out, bro. Droplet free zone right here.
Just speaking about live streams, did you catch Behemoths?
No, I didn't because I was up. We were filming music videos exactly when that happened, and I wanted to go over to a buddy of mine's. I heard it was sick because they did the whole like multicam thing, and I really wanted to. I thought that was awesome. Like, remember when Slipknot did it with Disaster Piece DVD?
Yep.
I thought that was awesome. I saw that. I own that DVD, and I've watched it a million times, and I always thought that was like super sick. And like Behemoth doing it is awesome. Like those are two of my favorite live bands in the entire world. Slipknot, Behemoth, along with like there's a couple other ones, but when they announced they were doing that, I was like, fuck, that's the weekend we're going up to do music videos, and I'm not gonna have time to do it. So I wanted to, but I
think Nurgle said that they're planning on actually remastering it and putting it out on a Blu-ray or something like that, which is crazy that they're remastering it because this is already top quality. They went I think out of all the streams right now, I feel like theirs was definitely like all the way up here. I mean, not to like say anything bad, like Code Orange just put on a crazy good one in Trivium and stuff like that. But I just think Behemoth took it to a whole new level. Like they had like I don't know what you call it, but the aerobatics in the air.
Yeah, they hung the girl by hooks.
Yeah,
like it's like
fucking all out.
Yeah, those guys care. Those guys care so much about their live show, and I have insane respect for that. Like, it's one thing to get up there and do your thing, especially as like their style, like whatever you want, death metal, blackened death metal, whatever you want to call them. But like, then some people see it as gimmicky, but it's like it looks fucking so sick. That's a ton of money too. Just respect for having the money to do that.
Yeah.
Well, some of those bands don't even make that much money because of how much money they put back into their live show.
Yeah.
Like I heard that it's crazy because in this moment they like did that changeover to be industrial, whatever. And like every interview Maria Brinks just basically, like basically all my money just goes back into buy like costumes and shit. I'm like, what? I was like, it's just like you made the change, you're making more money. It's just like, well, I guess that's the grind to get to a bigger bill. It's like, but people think, oh, they just wanted money. It's like, well, yeah, apparently they're putting it all back in. So
like that shit costs a lot of money, man.
I'm really curious. I'm kind of curious how much Behemoths cost because Devin did a quarantine session and his cost $40,000, and I was like, if that costs $40,000. I want to see what Behemoths cost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they rented an old church.
Yeah, abandoned church.
So you're paying for probably property just alone. Just to be there. Then let alone set up all your cameras, paying for a crew. All the extra stuff. I mean, that adds up real quick.
Total Behemoth to get a church. I was
like, of course, but like, you wouldn't be as into it if they rented out some like amphitheater.
Yeah, it's so good.
It was nuts, but I will say I hate the word when people say gimmicky. It's like, oh, you mean they have a good live show? Like I feel like almost every time I've heard that, it's like,
that's exactly. I'm like, okay, so they have a thing that helps them stand out. What are you upset about?
Yeah.
It's also like cool. It's like like also when you go live, sometimes you want to see a show. Like I don't know, I like both. Like I said, like we talked about before. Four dudes in a t-shirt or fire. Still.
Yeah, exactly. It's the music industry, but it's also the entertainment industry. Like you're paying money to be entertained. Like this is taking you away from your day to day, you know?
Yeah.
People lose track of that sometimes. It's like this isn't just 4 dudes in a shirt. Like this, like they're trying to give you a show. They're trying to give you an experience, you know, especially at a certain level when they can afford to do even more.
Yeah.
You know, not be a snob about it, but like, dude, be grateful. Like they're trying, you know?
Especially when you get to see them indoors. Like there was a while when they were on the Slayer tour, then they went right to the Slipknot tour. I feel like I saw them like 4 or 5 times, but like 4 of those times were outdoors. I was like, dude, it's great. But that one time I got to see him indoors with the light and the fire, I was like, holy shit.
I saw him
so good.
I saw him indoors. I think it was last year or like late the year before, but sometime within the past like year and a half or so, I got to see him
Nice.
at a place called the Aztec Theater here in San Antonio, and it was a headlining set too, so it was just beautiful. And I've seen them outside too. It just but inside where they can do their full setup and have it, you're just like stuck in this super dark atmosphere, and like you're in the moment so deep. It's fucking awesome.
Well, it just looks dope. Like when he's got the little smoke or whatever
the
comes
smoke
out.
belt
Yeah,
thing
he comes
and
out
like
the blood, the lights.
Yeah.
I'm like,
He
that
spits
black
blood on
stuff
you.
and the
So good.
torches. Yeah. Oh, man, it's so good.
also
I
don't
wanna
want to
see
fuck with the
Behemoth.
bassist, by the way. Don't want to fuck with the bassist. That guy is
No, that dude will just rip your head off with one hand and be like,
Yeah.
you do know.
Actually,
Who's
apparently-
Andy, right? From Black Heart Initiate?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he said. He's like actually both of them got like just ghosted into
drinking.
being obliterated. They're like, hey, do you want a beer? He's like, don't drink that beer. Here's real beer. We can teach you how to drink. And he just like brought him onto the Behemoth. He's like, all right. He's like, I woke up. I didn't know what the fuck happened. I was like, yeah, that sounds good. They just
Yeah, 'cause
surrounded
you-
us, handing us liquor.
Body
and beer.
bag.
Just like,
That'd be sick to drink with those guys. Or you know who I want to drink with? I want to drink with Amon Amarth. That's who I want to drink with.
Right from the
drinking the horns.
Straight from
Yeah.
they did that. I saw they were in San Antonio on my birthday a year ago, and me and some friends went to the show, and they took a break halfway in their set, and they all came to the front of the stage like in a row,
Oh,
and
nice.
they had the horns on the side of their like either like across their chest or like hanging on their belt, and they filled them up and like legitimately chugged from them as a group
What a
in the middle. Like
fucking men.
it was the coolest shit, man. That's another live show that's badass is Amon Amarth's, you know.
Oh, yeah.
but-
Did they
Oh, and
bring-
everyone starts rowing on the floor during that one song.
They did. Yeah, they did it. They're on the floor, and then he was like, he had this like big fake dragon head that came out, and he was hitting it with a sword or a mallet, I think, of some kind. And then they had actors come out on stage and battle each other with swords and masks and
It
stuff.
wasn't Lamb of God. No, because they did that once where they I think it was the last day of tour. Lamb of God as a joke jumped out with like fishing rods and like fake swords and acted like they were gonna pirate their ship.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty. You just see Randy like running around. I was like, that's an awesome video.
That's awesome. I need to check that out. That's badass. Yeah.
It's like that's another band. It's like, oh, is it a gimmick to bring half a ship on stage? It's like, yeah, but it's also a gimmick to hear those fucking riffs, though. They got riffs for days. So
Yeah. Just dun, 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 you know, and just like that's a ship. There's a ship on stage. Like, how is that not impressive to you? You're just
How
like,
about that on Mayhem Fest too? I was like, holy shit. Because, you know, like usually a summer tour like that where you're going to like, what is it, 25 or 35 dates or whatever it is. You're bringing that ship with you the whole time. I was like, oh my God.
yeah, think about that. How much money does that fucking cost to bring that thing in its own rig from city to city and then spend the time to get it set up? And like the money that goes into those shows is just wild, you know?
also, like, because they're from Europe, so it's either storage or they just had to have that made for that tour. They just like, but
I
just
have a feeling they probably have one that they keep in storage here. Like maybe there's some sort of place they just keep the one or something. But, you know, because shipping it's got to be a pain in the ass every single time. I'm sure they have like maybe a couple here and there. But
what happened to what happened? Someone broke into our storage. Which storage? The ship storage. Someone stole a free half.
someone's
ship.
hauling ass down the highway and there's a giant half ship. He's got the Viking horn ringing out the window while he's trying.
So,
Dude,
He
this
did it by
guy's-
himself somehow too.
It was just an old man that's like coming up behind. He's just like he gonna cut me off or is he trying to pillage me? I can't tell.
I don't know.
What the fuck?
But I'm kind of for it.
Bring it back. Bring back the pillage.
Yeah, I need a good pillage in my life.
Unfucking believable.
Love a good pillage.
So going back to Blackheart, comes out November 27th.
That old chestnut.
Yeah. So last album, Halfway Human, there was kind of clean singing was implemented. Paulo did a lot of clean singing. Was that something? I noticed you guys put that on the self-titled track. Is that something you guys have more throughout the album, or how'd you guys implement it?
Yeah, we kept it. I mean, that's one of those things that it's kind of just part. If you're in a metal band, like there's other than like completely changing your style, like pulling a Bring Me the Horizon type of thing. Other than that, there's only so many things you can do to maintain your sound, but evolve a little bit. And clean singing is one of them. And I don't understand the hate because like there's no way that you listen to only music that's all screaming all the time.
Right.
There's no way. You're just kind of being a dick about it, I'm sure. And like I get, enjoying a band's early stuff or just the later stuff, what have you, or I only liked this band when they were heavy, and I get it, but the idea is to kind of grow and kind of do some of the same stuff, but try new things. You're a musician, you're creative, like you want to do new stuff. So we took what Paulo did on Halfway Human, we pushed it a little bit further. He added a little bit more grit and angst to the stuff that he was singing. And so it's still there. It's on it's on maybe half the songs, but we tried to really walk a fine line though between bringing back old style like Creature, Invade vibes, but mixing it with what the band did on Halfway Human.
Did you add any clean vocals or no?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I had a couple songs where I did some like pitch screaming, but and like I know how to sing. I could do it if Paulo wasn't there, but I kind of like that he does it. He has a great voice, and he always wanted to do it in STM, but our bassist Jared, he did it. So I think it's kind of cool to let him have not like, oh, give it to Paulo, not like that. I mean, just he's good at it, and it gives me one less thing to focus on. So
I was gonna say live, won't that be? I mean, I know a lot of bands do it, but they also talk about how going from screaming to clean singing is like a lot on your voice. Would that be for you too, or no?
I mean, I didn't have to do it really a whole lot. I could, but I'd have to put some more focus and effort into it. And I put enough into doing my vocal warm-ups and exercises and stuff just for the screaming part. Not to say that I could, like, hypothetically, like if Paulo wasn't in the band and we didn't have a bassist that could sing, like, and I had to take over, like I could do it, but I kind of enjoy not having to.
Gotcha.
Not even from a lazy sense, but it gives me more time to focus on, like, I'm doing my parts, but I can focus more on the crowd and like my show versus doing everything. Like, so, but it's cool because Paulo did do some backup vocals in STM, just mostly screams, but he did do some of that stuff. So me and him already kind of know where our tones work together, like his lows mixed with my highs and vice versa. We've already done vocals live together during sets, and so we get to just do it again with this band, and then he gets to do his clean singing on top of that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of cool stuff that just carries over from STM to Within the Ruins, and so it's like just kind of a hybrid, of the two bands now.
So were you ever like nervous going into like writing this album, saying like, all right, this is my first album with the guys, like, I don't know, because like it seems like you already had like such a good work history with Paulo. Did it ever get you worried with the others?
A little, not so much drummer, only because he's not really a big studio guy. He'll be there a little bit here and there, but he just kind of does his own thing. A little bit with Joe, because I know like that this is his baby, and he'll say, like, hey, this is y'all's band too. I love that you guys are here and stuff. But, ultimately, like when it comes down to certain decisions, it's going to fall to Joe to make certain choices. And not that it was like intimidating necessarily, but you also just don't know how you're going to work together in the studio. And it took us a couple tracks to kind of figure that out, and that not in a bad way, not like we butted heads or anything. It was actually very smooth. We were both very on the same page with a lot of stuff, but you just don't know, like, am I going to come in prepared with fully written songs, or are we going to have to come up with a bunch of shit on the spot, or does Joe take a lot of time in between takes, or are we going to just do back-to-back takes, stuff like that, like figuring out each other's little nuances takes a little bit of time, but we got it really quick because we were already friends, and it's just more a matter of like, all right, how do we do the business side together?
Of course.
The creative process, figuring out how each other's brain works there, a little scary in that sense, but not really. If anything, it was just more exciting. I was like, oh man, I'm writing it within the Ruins record right now.
Yeah,
so
it's also
fun.
It also must be scary for the sake of like, well, you were in the band, you were announced to be in the band, but did you ever think going into this record like that could change if you like messed up anything, or were you just like, I'm in the band now, you're just trying to write the best record I could?
Both. I actually haven't been asked that question before, but immediately when you finished it, I was like, yo, both of those things are true. I was scared, because it's like maybe up front it seems like a good idea to bring somebody you've known in, but then like when it seems good on paper, but when you put it in practice, like on the road, maybe am I an asshole, or are they assholes? Maybe it doesn't work. Everybody meshes super, super well. We're all like know what needs to be done like on the road, but we all like to have same level of fun. Like the band doesn't really like do drummer will smoke weed, but otherwise we just drink beer and stuff a lot. Like we're not crazy out of control band or anything.
Just that one guy that does crack.
Just that one guy that does crack.
Really
He's the only one. He's the only one. So don't hold that against the rest of us.
It gets weird after 1 a.m. man. It just gets weird in the bus every time.
Every night. It's the darndest thing. But like no, you kind of. If anything, I was just kind of more stoked about it. But I was a little worried, like, fuck, what if for some reason Joe just doesn't like how I work or something? I'm here for it. I'm all about it. I'll do what needs to be done. But what if for some reason something happens and Joe's just like, hey, this isn't working? And part of me thought that only because, and it was only for a little bit. I don't really think about it now. But like in the beginning, I was like, fuck, I hope this works. Like I want it so bad. What if something happens?
Yeah.
But that went away pretty quick.
Well, it's just natural too. Like honestly, like if I was just thrown in, like even when I randomly jammed with a bunch of strangers, like that first like 10 minutes, it's like, hey, we're all nice. This is great. And then it's just like, do they hate it? No one's saying what they think. You're like, is this how they are? Are they just afraid to hurt my feelings? Or
oh yeah, you gotta. It's like you're walking a tightrope for a little while. Like I didn't really feel that with the guys, because we've known each other for a long time, so we're already kind of like this, anyways. But
also, you got the
point,
tour beforehand too, so you kind of got used to like the hardest part. Maybe is like you said, the touring, because we've heard from a lot of people we interviewed. Like you said, the hardest part is what happens if you're a dick on the road, or you can be super cool. People are all cool at a party. Unless you're that much of a dick.
Like, that one pet peeve that like really ticks off like your drummer or something,
Yeah, it's like one thing and you happen to do that one thing,
Yeah, he's great. He's on time. He just like he practices. He always farts like in your face for some reason. He can't fart outside the car. He's got to fart in your face.
It's the worst,
So fuck that guy.
Fuck that one guy in particular. But no, everybody's on the same page with like their with pretty much everything. So it was never an issue. And then it did turn into a focus of, okay, now I just need to write the best record that I can. So it was definitely a little bit of both, but very minimally that little bit in the beginning, but it was never even a big issue. Just my own head overthinking, probably.
Well, that's great to hear, because again, like the songs I've heard, like the 2 singles, it's like it'd suck if it was like, yeah, everything's great, it's just not great. I'd be like, no, I don't get more of that music. No, wait a minute, one more. 3 more albums. Let's go.
Well, I think it's a good time to go into our another segment we like to call the 3 random silly questions segment. We ask you 3 random silly questions. You ready for this?
I think so.
I think I can.
Okay. Question number 1. I feel like we kind of talked about this with the new metal thing, but what's a trend you followed as a as a kid, as a kid or a teen that makes you cringe now?
Oh, well, definitely not new metal, because I still love new metal.
I rep it. Yeah. 1,000%.
Oh, I rep it so hard, dude. I think honestly, I think there's a decent chance I've talked about it in most interviews, because that we've been doing for all this, because it comes up as like, hey, what were your influences? And like, I'm not going to not say it. That's what it was,
Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, I'm with you 1,000%. It's just stupid. Like new metal is so good. I don't care what anyone says.
It is. Yeah, I don't care. You can dislike it, but it had its place and it served heavy metal very well. And it is what it is. Trends from when I was a kid that I cringe now. That's a tough one because I'm actually a super nostalgic kind of guy. I love like old stuff. Like I have a like my Sega Genesis still works. I have it from the same one from when I was a kid. Like I love old stuff. So man, that's a tough one.
You ever gone to like Never Shout Never and had the hair across your eye?
Oh, I did have that's probably one. I did have some like. I think that's probably I'll use that as like my easy way out. Some of the MySpace trends were pretty cringy, and I did do some of them. But see, I'm not gonna say the same thing about the new metal. Like I totally dressed like a new metal kid. I had the flame bracelets and like the ball chain necklace and baggy pants and stuff from Hot
Jinko
Topic.
jeans.
Like, yeah, I never actually owned Jinkos, but I did get the trip pants with the zippers from Hot Topic. I had those.
Yeah.
But I think some of the MySpace trends, yeah, I'll have to look back on that and say some of it was cringy. Like.
I never understood the hair metal like emo style where it's like, oh, we're gonna have the poofy hair like hair metal, but then we're gonna like emo. I was just like, yo, like I was so happy I didn't get into that. I just grew my hair out like a fucking Neanderthal, but I was like, all my friends were into that. I was just like, man, I was like, the music is not bad, but I just hate looking at all these people that look like they're into hair metal. Like, it's like 17, 15-year-olds with that hair. It's like it just doesn't. It's like I don't know. I feel like you got to be like a little bit like a man. Like you just like Motley Crue, it's just a bunch of dudes. Like it kind of worked for them because I guess they're like sex icons. It just doesn't work for like 14-year-olds.
No, because
like you ain't fucking. Like you just look.
You're not fucking right now. And if you are, you're not good at it. You're not good enough to pull off that haircut. That's for sure.
This fucking yo.
You're not fucking.
Put that on a shirt.
Yeah, right. Merch out.
Yeah. Boom. MySpace trends. Yeah, those were rough. I definitely cringe at a lot of those now.
Question number 2. What non-metal song needs a death metal cover?
Oh. Circles by Post Malone.
I don't know it, but I'll have to check it out.
What? I love Post Malone, man. And that Circles is, dude, the new Hollywood's Bleeding, I think is just front to back badass. I love that album so much. Me and my girlfriend jam it all the time. And Circles is one of my favorite ones on that. I would love to hear somebody do a death metal Circles by Post Malone.
You think Within the Ruins can pull it off? Maybe a B-side?
Possibly. Joe actually, you should see Joe's hard drive. It's full of like a million folders of like random things that he's done. They're all titled stupid things like butt and balls and stupid names for the folders. but he's got covers in there. He's got like I think a Michael Jackson one and some other stuff. Like he's got covers, and that I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all. It's depending on what covers though. I don't know if he would want to do a Post Malone one. I could try and pitch it.
Oh, it kills me. Dude, I always
Joe, Joe, if you watch this, Post Malone Circles. Joe, keep that in your back pocket.
Well, it's like I also like I always got afraid that was like maybe I was giving him like I love the songs. But I was like I just love the way he rep metal. Like it's just like a dude.
Oh yeah.
Just like, bro, I was just like it's like metalheads like you like Post Malone. I'm like, well, even if you don't like his music, you gotta like the fact he reps your fucking He went with Ozzy.
He had Ozzy on the track exactly. Like is that not the biggest flex for somebody that's not a metal musician? Like he like rocks out and stuff. He plays guitar. Like
Did a whole Nirvana live stream.
Yeah, during COVID. It was
with Travis Barker. Yeah, That was cool.
That was Travis, right? Because I only watched one thing, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Travis, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's kind of weird. I always love it. Travis Barker is just like, it's
hey.
Oh, he doesn't.
All right, dogs again.
I was about to say, it's like, you better say something about Travis Barker? I was like, no.
Oh, nobody better say an unkind word about Travis Barker. Oh, sorry, man. Fucking embarrassing. Sorry, guys.
It's fucking
it's almost as bad as when you rejoin.
I love my dogs, man, but I'm right by the front windows, and there's always people walking by or dogs walking by, and they freak out. Man.
That's all good. Jesse knows about that with all his dogs.
Yeah, my family just loves just taking in animals.
Guess how many cats this guy has?
I don't have
4.
No, well, inside or outside. Yeah. No.
Question number 3.
It's brutal.
Okay. All
right. Question number 3. When you were a kid, what's something you believed because your parents told you, but it ended up not being true? So, like, some people see Santa or something like that. What was something for you?
God.
Right to it.
God,
fair enough.
I don't give a shit. I'm super like openly atheist, and I talk about it. Not overly, but like I look back on it now, I'm just like, I was pissed off for a little bit, and we don't have to go down the religion road or anything, but like,
That's all right.
it's the first thing that comes to my mind. I'm just like, dude, you don't really understand why you believe this. You're just told this, and you grow up with it, and then it's harder to let go when you get older. And if you think critically about it, it's almost certainly not true. I don't know. That's just me. Santa, sure, but I'll get to sure, but probably have just as much reason to believe he's real. So I'll get right to it and say the big one.
That'd be fun. God's not real. Was that too hardcore? I don't know. Santa, whatever.
I don't know. You want a sugar-coated answer? Or
Oh shit!
Oh
real
my God,
answers.
dude.
I like this.
Yeah, mine's definitely like puppy dog soft to that, but like I just found out apparently everyone's parents told them about the shaving the beard makes your hairs grow back longer, and that was just a ploy to get your son to shave his first beard that sucked. Like I saw someone talking about it. It's like, dude, my son's got this like chin strap and it sucks.
Hey, so if you shave that,
yeah, that's what everyone said. It's like, tell him it'll grow back fast, he'll shave. And I was like, that's a ploy? I didn't know. I just thought they actually believed it.
lied to.
Dude, I was like, how many times I heard that? I was like, oh, I had the worst first beard too. I was like, no shit, they told me to shave it. It's terrible.
First there's no God, and now my hair doesn't grow back better.
What is the point of life?
I hate
It's
when
a
it never
travesty.
connected. For me, like this never connected when I was like every time I'd shave it.
Yeah, mine's close, but not all the way.
Well, it means you have to have a kid now, Chris. That means that's you're a man. I'm
There you
still a
go.
boy. I'm still a boy.
You can't create life until you connected the life of your beard.
Oh,
Or
we
some
got
such
awesome.
nonsense. I don't know.
So that's a random silly question segment. All
Back
right. So before we let you go, is there any upcoming plans? You guys have like a live stream show or anything you want the fans to look forward to?
The live stream stuff is getting talked about. I think it's like we kind of brought up earlier. That's kind of the only option at the moment. I don't have any details on it because there's nothing set in stone. So I'm not like hiding anything. It's just we're talking about it. We're just trying to figure it out and work it around the album release. So as soon as we know something about that, then yeah, I'll let you know for sure. We'll announce it and everything. But otherwise, there's just one more music video for a single dropping the same day as the album. It's for a track called Devil and Me. Very, very excited about that one. It's going to be cool. So really just keep an eye out on that. And Joe, also it just came to me, Joe's doing a really cool collaboration with his brewery, Tinbridge.
Oh, nice.
And it's like a hoodie, a vinyl, a CD, and this New England IPA he put together, and he's calling it Deliverance IPA after the song. And so he like, dude, you can't have your own brewery and not do a special beer for the album. Like, so I thought that was pretty sick. So yeah, so you can, the only thing with that is like you have to actually go pick it up. You have to go to the brewery to get it.
Yeah,
I know.
too good to be true. I was like, damn.
I know it was a cool, we got everything figured out, but you just had to do like a stipulation of like, well, you can't, there's no way to control if some 16-year-old kid orders beer from you. We can't,
And where is
can't
it?
control it. It's out in Westfield, Massachusetts. So
Okay.
technically you could order it if you wanted to make the drive. You just have to pick it up from there.
Let's see
But
where.
that's the only thing.
Close.
But
Or at least it's on the East Coast.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
East Coast. Where'd you say you all
New
are?
Jersey.
Jersey? Oh, you're not that
It's
far.
probably like 4 or 5 hours, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
It's super doable. I mean, realistically,
Fuck it,
like,
I got nothing going on.
Yeah,
I
right.
lost everything I
There's
knew
nothing
and
going on
loved.
right now.
It's time to go
can you
get that
can you do this interview? No. Why?
Yeah.
You pick up this beer? No. Why?
Yeah, I would just be like, I gotta tell you, man, it's a life or death situation when I drive. When I get bored, immediately it becomes a fight for my life. I'm like, oh, this is a nice drive. All right. It's like
Oh,
10
yeah.
minutes in. Oh, fuck. That's
Dude,
how
there's a total max. Like I live, since San Antonio is like a little over an hour, maybe almost an hour and a half from Austin. Like that's a pretty easy drive back and forth. There's always shows there if they're not in San Antonio. So I've done that drive a million times. I think the most I'll do is probably to Houston from here, and that's like maybe 3:15 or so. And like that's when I'll start getting that dozing. Like, I can't. This
Yeah.
sucks.
it's crazy. Like, I'm so glad I never got into either driving like freight or something, or like was in a band that drove vans or anything. Cause I was like, the second I get bored, it's like, I just have to focus. So I don't know what is my brain. It's like when I see trees, like, oh, that's the same tree a billion times.
Mhm.
Counting sheep.
Yeah, literally, I just switch between podcasts and music. I'm like, I gotta wake up, dude.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a little different in the van at least, because you've got your guys with you, and like they'll usually
Yeah.
entertain you unless it's a night shift. I'm not as good at driving at night, but like I'll do it if I have to, but but it's different when you've got the guys in the van. If I'm doing it by myself, I'm like, I'm just out of here.
Here it comes. I did the Ace Ventura once. I tried, I was just driving over the Throg's Neck and fucking like, oh, just screaming outside the window. I was like, oh my God.
Got any more of that gum, Ace?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this was a blast. Thank you for joining, man. I really appreciate it. And where's the best place for fans to pick up the record?
Oh, you can pre-order it. We all have the same link on all of our personal Instagram pages, and it's on the Twitter, and we always attach it to pretty much every post. It's Within the Ruins -blackheart.com. That has all like the music videos. It's got every pre-order bundle on there.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of nice and all in one spot. So
sweet.
Head there. It's all there.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate this, and enjoy the rest of your day, dude.
Oh, dude,
thanks, man. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I had a blast, guys. Thank y'all for having me. Appreciate it.
And welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience podcast right now. This is your host, Chris. We got Jesse.
What's
mean
up?
mugging it over there. You look like the dog on a mug root beer can.
Oh.
I'm going to put the side-by-side right there.
Maybe a puppy.
See?
I don't think I'm
looks just like you.
Oh, yeah, put the can next to me, I guess, right?
Yeah, you look just like it. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that nice little interview within the ruins. We got Steve Tinnon.
It's like for like a water boy. You've been playing foosball and going to school with all your friends. Well, I'm sitting home alone playing with Steve.
I didn't mean to sound like that, but I guess I did.
Steve, dude, that fucking voice kills me every time. Literally.
Yeah. Well, we're not talking about that, Steve. We're talking about
Steve
Tinnon, vocalist.
Within the Ruins.
They have a nice little album called Black Heart, November 27th.
Oh, yeah.
It comes out E1 Records. 10 tracks of awesomeness. They already got, at least when we recorded this, they have 2 singles out. I think he said he wasn't going to drop a third single until the album release, right?
The day of the album release is going to be a music video for
Devil and Me.
Right now, they got Deliverance and they got the self-titled track Black Heart. So you guys can check that out. Bandcamp, Spotify, YouTube, because they got a video for the self-titled track. It's all there. Fun stuff. And I like when we have a band, like an artist come on and he's just really open about all his answers. I feel like he didn't hold back about anything about writing with the band. He told us about like his fears or trepidations or anything like that. He was really open, and I like how it's always good when you have someone that open on the podcast.
Well, yeah, and also, yeah, like literally all the questions I could think of were answered, even though literally everything got answered, and also in a nice way too. It wasn't even like a boring answer, like that'd be mean to some people, but yeah, it was scary, I guess. Anyways.
His dog even made an appearance on the show too, which is fun.
Dog crashed in, said, "What's up?" Kind of reminded me. I'm kind of happy I never had a dog when I having hard floors, because though hard floors are great, like for me personally, as someone that's allergic to dust and cats, like it's easy. The dust doesn't stick in. Thanks. But like that clickety clack, clickety clack, clickety clack, clack. But you're just like. Also, I didn't get to say this though about drive-in shows. I was like, man, it would be a dream to see Meshuggah play in a drive-in show, so we could hear Future Breed Machine. Everyone honks their horn along. Beep beep beep.
I don't know if all honks can do that.
Honk. You kidding me? Remember my Ford Tempo? I used to be able to bleed to it. I could punch my horn. Blackada. I was like, I could not do all the new ones. Their horns are too nice.
They're not broken in with rage.
Oh, well, yeah, but like literally it's like a button, and mine was like it didn't move. You would just hit it. Like the Ford Explorer and the Jeep, like they're like a button almost. You like it goes in to hit the horn, so you can't do it. At least I haven't tried. I don't want to punch a new car. The Ford Tempo was a piece of shit.
Why don't you want to punch new cars, bro? Come on.
Fuck that car, man. Because fuck that. No. Also, I don't go anywhere right now, so I have no one to show.
Jesse goes nowhere. But yeah, guys, remember if you like what you hear, if you listen to this wherever, please like it, subscribe, ring the bell. This is on YouTube. We're also on all streaming platforms too. I think we're on 11 platforms: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google, Apple, all the major ones. Castbox. We make the show every week. We're on all the boxes of streaming platforms.
every single box, and just like got to do it like every other podcast does. But yeah, if you like it, leave a review on Apple. If you like it, follow us on Spotify or Apple. Like hit the follow button wherever. I don't know all the podcast formats, whatever the like, follow on all those.
Yeah,
do it. Help us out.
Do it.
It'd be cool.
I like
also
how you
just
kept saying
comment
if
on
you
the video.
like it. I kept thinking if you like it, put a ring on it. Like ring
If
the
you like
bell.
it, put a ring on it. Just peg your screen right in the
So
face.
corny.
Well, that's the classic Vine, right? If you like it, but you should have put a ring on it. Then it's just him just pegging chocolate, pegging beer, pegging. He just throws rings at his phone. It was just. I think he
TikTok
hit his
took over
dog.
for
He
that.
just like threw his dog. Just.
Isn't it funny how Vine went away and then TikTok, is the same shit?
Because Vine was so good, it just mismanagement, I guess.
I heard it got bought. I thought, right? Didn't it get bought by
Maybe I
something?
have no fucking idea. I'm just making it up.
You don't know what companies get bought by who in the social media?
Honestly,
world?
did I sound? I sounded really confident too. I was like, they fucked up, but they were good. Well, because like it's weird. It's also maybe it's a generational thing, but like TikTok,
No.
there's funny TikToks, but boy, how many times I've like, dude, literally at 3 a.m, I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed. Here's a 30-minute, you can't stop laughing Vine me, and literally 20 minutes of it, I'm like, this is hilarious. What the hell? Like, dude,
I
like,
don't agree with you.
what?
TikTok,
Also, I hurt myself.
TikToks are pretty bad.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There's only very, very few that I'm like, oh, okay, but I don't go on TikTok. Someone usually
me
sends
neither.
them to me.
I almost do the.
Or they
Reddit.
re-upload them onto like another platform.
Exactly. That's why I'm late to memes and I'm late to TikToks because I'm not on Reddit. I'm not on TikTok. I get everything through like Instagram stories or when I was on Facebook pages like memes and shit. So I'm late to everything, but boy, it's great because that's where all the best stuff gets shared. If you see it 5 times, then it was good. Like how many times I've seen the same video, I'm like, yep, I liked it.
Let
too.
someone else do the digging and what's that
Oh
called?
yeah, I'm too lazy.
Oh my god, I can't think of the term. Pre-screening process.
Yeah. Basically, I'm the poor man CEO. Just like, yeah, give me all the content.
Garbage, give me the good shit.
Yeah, all of it. And even if it's garbage, apparently, I'm not picky. So.
All right, guys. You heard him. He said
Within the ruins -blackheart.com.
Yeah, Black and because I just had the Bandcamp up, but he said also with Joe's Brewery, they're actually, if you go to the actual brewery, it's you can buy their special beer that's called Deliverance. So that's really cool. I think if you're in the Massachusetts area, where he said it was?
Westfield.
Yeah, so if you guys are there, check it out. If you're from Jersey, apparently it's a 2-hour drive.
2 hour and 40 minutes. So it's close to 3 hours, but it's for some reason even if it's 2 hours and 55 minutes, for some reason when you don't see that 3, I'm like doable. It's like 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Like I need Powerade, I need fucking I don't know sugar, Red Bull, give it to me. Yeah, I might do it. Honestly, I'm kind of like
we might do it, guys. We might do it.
It might be fun. If so, we'll drink it on. We'll interview them again, and drink it with it, and just be like, it would just be an ad for the beer.
And if you guys want updates, you can tune into my radio show, WMSC 90.3 WMSC. That show features a ROM. We talk about movies. There's metal music being played, and there's also additional interviews. Like I just did one today with Doro Pesh, the heavy metal queen, or the queen of heavy metal, however you want to phrase it. I have some other good guests on there too. Like I've had Tala, I had Max Portnoy. A lot of good stuff right there. So
Anyway, that interview, by the way, Max Portnoy, he's a gangster.
Yeah, he was really cool. It's just like the audio quality was not that great, but talking to him was great. He kind of delved into the album.
Good sale pitch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, listen to this audio only podcast interview. Audio wasn't great. Anyways, see you guys. Good night.
It disappointed me, but anyway, talking to him was great.
There you go. What the hell? I yelled so much it went out of focus.
But yeah, you catch that Tuesday nights, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Nice.
Jersey.
Yeah, it's awesome. And
Jesse reacts.
Like I said, I made my comeback today, and apparently I got a big middle finger, and I got it taken down, so I had to go edit it and put it up tomorrow.
It down?
Yeah. And then also, like I said, I said this off the air, but all my programs decided, like, I bought a very expensive computer because I'm into computers and I'm an idiot and I definitely don't need this. But apparently, even that's not good enough. So my programs are crashing while I'm recording. I'm like, this song's great. That program's down. Yeah, it's awesome. YouTube shut. All right, I guess I'll just restart because I know people do reactions and they know the song, but I don't like doing that. You know, I just don't because also it's just
Not
not
genuine.
fun. Well, it's just not as fun. Like it's fun. Like it is. Like like this song was great, Kingslayer by Bring Me the Horizon. There was parts I was like, holy shit! I was like, what? I was like, dude, they had this awesome part. It like bled in. It led into like this snare on 3 with this like weird snare roll, and it just like you kind of foreshadowed it. You knew it was gonna happen. But when it kicked in, you were like, yeah, you were just locked into the groove. I was like, oh shit! And then they did like this bass drum flutter, heavy part, like actually kind of like Paralyzed by As I Lay Dying. No.
Is Azalea Dying a band? I don't know. I'm not aware of them.
I don't fucking know. That sounds great, by the way. Paralyzed. But yeah, so I'm coming back and I stream too. So twitch.tv/Insid, youtube.com/C/Insid1, Insid stream on Twitter and Instagram. But most importantly, if you're going to do anything here, follow this guy's radio show, that guy's radio show right there. Fucking hell. And also, again, do the podcast on the apps, on YouTube. Let us know. I want to hear from you.
Like, follow, ring, subscribe.
Yeah, ring. Don't actually press it, just ring it. But,
All right,
yeah.
guys. Until next time. Peace.